Brenda Frese has devoted her entire career to being a coach in women's college basketball, and sure enough, she's one of the all-time greats. Highest winning percentage among active coaches. She's right up there at the top. She also just passed the 600 mark for wins at Maryland. Her team is once again a danger to everyone they play in the Big Ten and soon to be the NCAA tournament. And of course, Brenda is good enough to join us now to chat about this team. She is our big interview. Brenda, let's dive right into your roster this year. How do you describe the production you've gotten the last month or so from Sarah Tebiasu?
You know, she's really stepped up and played how she's capable of playing. I think it took her a while, you know, within our system and kind of navigating everything through, but she's been massive. I mean, clearly, you know, since the injury of Bree McDaniel going down and our energy player, you know, Sarah has just really come into form. She's, you know, the ability to shoot the three, you know, be able to get downhill, get to the rim, as well as setting others up, and defensively as well. She's just been a huge piece within our program.
You mentioned the injury to Bree McDaniel earlier. Unfortunately, you guys have been roughed up a little bit more. Sailor Poffenbarger got hurt in her last game. What's the latest on Sailor?
Day to day with a lower leg injury, and you know, gosh, you know, you're talking about two starters in your lineup that are very impactful. And you saw, you know, in the third quarter when Sailor went down at Northwestern, had huge implications, you know, for our team. I mean, she's the glue kind of that puts us all together, but. Injuries are part of the game, unfortunately, and for us, it's just understanding next player up and just continuing to put your head down. And there's no more, you know, no gimmies in our league, so everyone's competing to win, and you've got to be ready to step up and play.
I mean, to be fair, we're not even close to done talking about the injuries you've had to deal with. Cheyenne hasn't been anywhere close to 100%. She got banged up a couple games ago. What's the latest on her?
Yeah, you know, it is. It's tough. And, you know, she's really day to day as well. I would say, you know, we've limited a lot of her practice time with that load. And I mean, probably somewhere around 65, 70%. So, you know, again, she's an explosive player that can do so much. So for us, just having her on the floor and finding those moments when we can take advantage, but definitely is not at 100%. But we're hoping, you know, as time goes on, we'll be able to get her there.
So Sellers, Poffenbarger, Bree McDaniel, you mentioned you've limited the practice for Cheyenne. What about during a game? What do you have to do differently during a game? Because injuries have to be at least in the back of your mind.
Yeah, as a staff, we're really trying to, around media timeouts, you know, some of those areas where we can get her a longer extended break. We've gone to our bench, you know, a lot more. You know, we're bringing in a lot more post players, so you know, it helps our rebounding. But you know, there's other areas, you know, within that game. So really intentional. I think our bench depth has really been an area that we've really tried to stretch and improve upon. But just trying to be a little bit more creative as a coaching staff.
Let me get a positive thing on Cheyenne. 4 amazing years with you. She made a pretty quick impact right away. Her last home game is coming up in just a handful of days. How do you best describe what Cheyenne Sellers has meant to you and to the team?
Just loyalty in today's day and age, you know, to have a player stick through it time and time again, all 4 years. You know, she has had a lot of different teams and a lot of different classes, and has continued to stay the course. And I can say similar to her game, you know, every year she figured out what was going to allow her to be on the court and be impactful. And that's a sign of a great player. You know, why she's leaving here is one of the best players to come through, and in a lot of areas, scoring and assist and rebounds and you know, putting her mark all across the game.
Let me ask about another player, Kayleen Schmeichel. You and I talked earlier in the year, and you pointed out how she was so ready to go and embrace the family atmosphere that your program has. Now that we're almost towards the end of the season, how do you describe her first full year there in College Park with you?
I love coaching Kayleen. She's just so competitive. She wants to be elite, and we've been really able to challenge her in so many areas. Like you start with her efficiency on offense. She's been able to do that. People were more concerned about her being high volume. Her ability to stretch, with the three, getting off the bounce, drawing fouls for this team. But what I've really loved is I've challenged her defensively. I've challenged her with her assisted turnovers. And that's an area that she's really intentional about, just being a well-rounded player. So I love that about KK.
We're entering the final week of the regular season. Give me one thing that you want your team to still be better at, something that you hope can improve for the rest of the season.
As coaches, we're never satisfied. So, I'd still say on the defensive end, I think we can control some things a little bit more with our communication. I mean, those are controllables, and being on the same page with our lineups. So, definitely on the defensive end, I still think there's a lot of great work for us to improve on.
Big Ten tournament is coming up starting next week in Indianapolis. No big deal. You've already won 5 of these suckers in your brief time as a member of the Big Ten. This year's going to be different, of course, 15 teams in. What is that upcoming week in Indianapolis going to be like this year in particular?
Wow. You've seen the league and just night in and night out. I think you're going to see that, there could potentially be a lot of upsets because everybody can play and you've got to be able to show it. And, for all of us, we've only had one game where you've played a doubles. So, more than likely you're going to play a team for the second time. And, everything's going to be on the line. Everyone's fighting for seeding in the NCAA tournament and what that looks like. So I think it's going to be an unreal tournament.
I mentioned you've had great success in the Big Ten tournament. What are some things you learned about the best ways to handle this week? Because it is always good competition. It is a game one day after a game, sometimes one day after a game as well.
Yeah, really, you got to focus on the now. It's a new tournament. Everyone is, undefeated at this point, 0-0 with your record. Anything can happen. So you've got to be able to come in and play the best 40 minutes that are complete and focused. And then you have the ability to march on.
You mentioned the league as a whole being so tough and no gimmies this year. Now that, again, we're almost at the end, it's the first year of 18 teams. What was it like? How different did it feel this year?
I can honestly say in all my years in the conference, this one has been the toughest. Just because every single night, through every team, it didn't matter where they were, positioning. Every team came out and played. You were going to get every team's best shot. And it reminds you of the NCAA tournament. I'm excited to see how the Big Ten does when we get into the NCAAs because it's one game scouts and it prepares you for what that's going to look like if you want to win in advance or lose, you go home. So, just the quality of competition that we've had to face home and on the road and just putting your best of 40 minutes together every single night out.
Yeah, maybe a dozen teams or more from the Big Ten slotted to go to the NCAA tournament this year.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Indiana tomorrow on the road, OSU Sunday to end the regular season. Brenda, always great talking to you. Best of luck. We'll see you in Indianapolis.
All right. Thank you so much.